This video is not a review of the video game Stray, but a reflection of my time playing Stray and what it taught me about world building and game design as a game master. Honestly, for 8 hours of my time, this game really made me think about how worlds are experienced, and now I would like to share that with you. This channel is all about dungeon mastering and game mastering, and that means taking inspiration from everywhere. And so today we are taking inspiration from the video game Stray. This reflection will be spoiler free because I highly encourage you to play the game. It is really only 5 to 10 hours of your time for high concentration of inspiration. Also, I will be reading from a script for this video because I want to get my points across effectively and well. However, I am extremely dyslexic, so if I'm looking at the script instead of looking at the camera, I apologize. I cannot look away because I cannot find my spot whenever I come back. It's part of dyslexia. When I walked into Stray, I was on the wavelength of comfy, cozy, sweet, little puzzle game where you play a cat and meet nice little robots in a silly little town. So color me entirely surprised whenever I found out that this is not a comfy game, this is not a cozy game, and it's only sometimes a puzzle game, to be really honest with you. Stray is a game where you, an orange tabby, fall into the depths of a domed city and now trapped must secure your way back out to the outside. In theory, that's what this game is about. In reality, this game is about immersing yourself into a what-if world, hopelessness and the stubborn few who fight it, and the sacrifices it takes to make the impossible possible. There are so many parts of this game that I will be taking into my TTRPG gameplay, and today I just want to touch on a few. The first thing I want to touch on is something that fascinated me: the localized ecosystems. While you play Stray, you move through different zones of the domed city that are cut off from one another due to old technology of the human that once were. By the way, all the humans are dead and just the robot companions are left. Monsters that mutated to eat metal, or high-powered lackeys. We all know that one. Because of these factors, each section in the city that you move through has its own individual ecosystem. And I'm not just talking about like plants. Every piece was different. It was dilapidated buildings, to sewers, to a wooden tower, to neon lights and nightclubs. But it was also oranges and yellows, cool tones, neon purples and blues, to hospital white. Throughout every area, the mission was clear: get the robots to do the thing and keep moving. But I kept stopping and just talking to people because even the design of the robots changed. Every part of the domed city had an ecosystem that was isolated and formed over many years. And you can tell in every inch of interactable material that the creators did that on purpose to evoke wonder. Everything, including the music, was made just for the parameters of that area alone. Now, think about your TTRPG world for a second. Are there places in your world where their own ecosystem may have started? Maybe they raise different animals for food because they're cut off in the mountains. What if they have a festival or a routine because of a phenomenon that no one can explain, as they don't have access to higher education and they made their own conclusions? What if a god looks different or acts different because pilgrims never reached them to teach them what it is actually like? A lot of TTRPGs actually rest on the fact that things are like this. Shadowrun, Cyberpunk Red, and Blades in the Dark are the ones that come to mind for me. And as for D&D, I mean a lot, and I mean a lot, of medieval times were isolated ecosystems. Maybe they had heard of a nearby city, but most people would never leave the town that they grew up in, and they would live their whole lives in that town. Just as a fun exercise, think up 3 villages that live in the same forest but can't reach each other. One lives near the mountains, one lives near a river, and one lives near the sea. Now start those villages in the same way and see how diverse you could make them as time wanes on. See how fun that could be? See how fascinating it gets? Stray really made me think about my Wayward Arrow setting and how interconnected I really wanted. It was fascinating to see different people adapt to the same issues, and it really made me immerse myself into the world to understand it. Now, how cool would it be if your player said that they wanted to immerse themselves in your world to understand it? That's my takeaway, at least. Or your takeaway could be to trap your players in a domed city and make them try to get out. I think both lend a great hand to planning your next TTRPG adventure. The next thing I want to touch on is something that many videos are made about, because many people struggle with this, including me. Lots of games play with tension and release, push and pull, urgency and calm. You have everything from cozy games where tension doesn't exist to you are never safe games where just opening a chest after a battle dooms you to having to fight your way out of a prison with roach men. I'm still not over that, chat. Still not over that. The same applies to your game of TTRPG. You must establish an ebb and flow of the game and keep it. Tension is everything in storytelling, and having good examples of different versions of tension can really help not only establish your own sense of tension, but you can communicate with others what kind of table you are running. Elden Ring is a great example of high tension. Animal Crossing could be a great example of low tension. I think Stray is the perfect example of what a lot of people want. A casual game. Casual tension. Things are at stake. Tensions do get high. Not everyone trusts or likes you. And you can and do die. But overall, the game is more exploratory and RP rather than your life being at stake. Fun can be had, there's carpets to scratch, and Easter egg dialogue to find, and then you better run because the Zerks are here, and you look like a snack. Lots of tension and lots of release. Urgency is there, but also not so much that you can't destroy a robot's couch every once in a while. Anyway, in my opinion, it's a really good example of what many people are looking for in TTRPGs these days. And you might find a better understanding by playing the game and feeling those story beats for yourself. The final thing I want to talk about is something that I recently added to my games, and it made a massive difference, not only for player enjoyment, but in the way I wrote my campaigns. Theming. In Stray, the theme of the game isn't perfectly clear at first. In fact, you may falsely think that it is to escape. That is their PC's goal, but not the theme when it comes to what's coming for them. I don't want to say too much at risk of spoilers, but as you push through Stray and learn about the robots and the ecosystem they've built and what they've been through, you come across the same kind of conflict over and over. When tensions are high, when urgency is there, the same question is asked. What am I willing to sacrifice to achieve my goal? That right there is the fundamental question to Stray. What everything world building revolves around. What am I willing to sacrifice? The question that drives everything until the very end of the game is the reason why the game eats at my soul. It's the reason why I learned something from it and I took stuff away. Having an underlying theme to your TTRPG games, even one-shots, could greatly benefit everyone at the table. Whether it's a question or a single word, having that anchoring point to propel your game forward makes it from a fun time with friends to something that people walk away from feeling like they've left a piece of themselves at the table or that they themselves have changed a little bit. This is not an easy thing to do. Staying with the theme is really hard whenever there is just so much fun stuff to mess with. But try it for at least an arc. It's what I did with the Zenith, and it changed the entire game. Honestly, I think my players were more dedicated whenever we got to the Zenith arc because they felt like there was so much more meaning to them. They were like I was reaching deep inside them. Theme is so important, and you can really feel it when you play Stray. Stray is and was a beautiful game where you can really learn so much about game theory. And really, to stick that much wonder and content into 8 hours of game is pretty insane. I found myself stopping and just thinking throughout the game, completely encapsulated by what was being presented to me. Plus, the gameplay was so fun. Now imagine someone saying that they were encapsulated by your game. It makes you want to sit down and listen, right? That is my reflection and what I learned from playing the video game Stray. I cannot recommend that you play the video game enough. You could probably play it an entire one sitting in an entire day, to be completely honest, if you have a day off. but it is such a beautiful, jam-packed game, and I learn a lot from video games whenever it comes to game theory, whenever it comes to world building. I just learn a ton from video games. And so I would love to make this a series where I play a video game and then I use that video game to reflect on it in the viewpoint of TTRPGs and also game mastering. And then maybe you can do the same, and then we can have a conversation about it. You know what I mean? Also, speaking of having a conversation, if you enjoyed this video and you enjoy me, I would absolutely appreciate it if you subscribed. I'm on the road to 1K, and I am really looking forward to hitting that 1K mark. It just would mean the world to me. So I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe. I am going to go ahead and get going. That was today's video. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think, and if you like these kind of reflection videos, because I can do more. I can do like books and all of those kind of things as well. I appreciate you so much. You are always welcome at my table, and I will see you in the next video.